moment the inevitable became reality. Turkish riot police clear Taksim Square and neighboring Gezi Park, the epicenter of anti-government protesters for over 2 weeks now. A little after 8 p.m. local time, police announced through their loudspeakers that they would be storming the park, warning everyone to evacuate the area immediately. Roughly half an hour later, the operation began. Water cannons and some tear gas was fired. Within minutes, the square was empty. The security forces then moved into Gezi Park, home to roughly 200 tents set up by the demonstrators at the beginning of their sit-in just over 2 weeks ago. Tents were dismantled, banners taken down, and police cars previously burnt by protesters were removed. Unlike previous confrontations between security forces and activists, the initial operation to expel the protesters saw little violence, with many seeking refuge in a nearby hotel. But the vast majority fled to Istiklal Street, Istanbul's main commercial road. Clashes ensued in both these places, which transformed into the de facto front lines. Earlier in the day, Prime Minister Recep Tayyip Erdogan addressed tens of thousands of his supporters in the capital, Ankara, in a rally many believe was intended to serve as a show of force. Erdogan took the opportunity to once again demand those camped in Istanbul to vacate the park.
My brothers and sisters who are still there, please leave. I ask protesters with good intentions to leave because that park belongs to all residents of Istanbul. It belongs to everybody in Taksim. It does not belong to illegal organizations.
The Prime Minister had made several similar demands before. This time, it became evident he was not bluffing. And despite initially managing to clear Taksim Square and Gezi Park, the government has yet to appease the protesters, even with the concession of freezing the planned renovation work on the park. And until they do that, they run the risk of having more protests, because the resolve of those who've been facing off with the police doesn't seem to be wearing off. At least, not yet. Jamal, Elshayyal, Al Jazeera, Istanbul.